Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. We're on the air for the next half hour. I'm Kenny Gallagher along with Jerry Burrow. And we're in that time of the season where the NHL playoffs are on the in our sight, but certainly college hockey in the midst of their playoffs. And my goodness, Jer, the UMD Bulldogs are in the Frozen Four again.
Amazing. I tell you what, I think it's the best job Coach Sandlin has done in his other coaching
Coach of the year
staff. Oh, it should be. By far.
Yeah.
Think about it. Last year, they get to the championship game out in Chicago at the United Center. They lose to Denver, but it was a great game.
1-goal loss.
And then they lose. Iafallo that went to the LA Kings, and he's been doing good on that first line. They get Dom Toninato, that's a senior. He goes to Colorado. He's getting playing time. They get Carson Soucy, that is in the Wild system down in Iowa.
Neil Pionk.
He left early. Adam Johnson signed a contract with Pittsburgh. Miska, the goalie that had a heck of a year, went to, I think, Arizona. I mean, it's just crazy. All they lost, the great seniors and all these underclassmen that left early, then bring in all these snotty-nosed freshmen.
Yeah.
And the way they performed, the pressure of the puck, they don't have the skill like they did the year before, but I tell you what, they got the mentality that they think they can win, and they're doing it.
Again, the UMD Bulldogs are in the semifinals. They'll play Thursday, April 5th. They'll take on Ohio State, coached by
Steve Rolick.
Former UMD assistant. He left here. He played coached here under Scott Sandlin from 2000 to 2010 and then left the year before the Bulldogs won a national championship. But he went to Ohio State and took over a program that was floundering, and now he has them in the semifinals. That'll be at the XL in St. Paul. Again, Thursday, April 5th, 5 o'clock, drop the puck, ESPN2, and then on local radio, KDAL 610 and 103.9 FM. And Jerry, look how the Bulldogs got here. They squeaked into the tournament, literally.
Wow, 1/10,000th of a point.
Okay,
they lost those two games over in the NCHC tournament.
Now they've got to play in the first round at Minnesota State, and they beat them a 1-goal game, 3-2.
Right.
Then they take on Air Force, who beat Denver 5-1 to advance, and the Bulldogs beat Air Force 2-1 in the quarterfinals. And now they're in the semifinals, again, on the cusp of another national championship. And like you said, Jared, this team is loaded with freshmen, but these are no ordinary freshman players.
No, they grown up real fast, it looks like. And I think the upperclassmen have helped them along, to learn, hey, this is what happens when you get to the tournament. I tell you what, a week ago, if you told me they can do anything in the region, I'd say no way, the way they played down at the XL the week before.
Well, if you compare the rosters of those championship teams that Surdich took, the loss to Bowling Green, I mean, that roster was chock full of great players, some that went on to the NHL, McIver, Watson, who's the defenseman, Curvers.
Yeah, Curvers.
Matt Christensen, Bobby Locke, so just a great lineup of players. Okay, 2011, Fontaine, and the list goes on and on of great players. Who do you take out of this list that's great? This current roster.
You don't.
And here they are on the verge of doing something that they've only done one time, win a national championship.
I tell you what, Carson Kuhlman had a great tournament out the regions, and he was just going up and down that ice, 200 feet, defense, offense, defense, He had a great 2 games down there. And Joey Anderson, people if you don't watch the player, you think you go by the scoreboard and he only scored 1 goal. He didn't have that good of it. No, you got to watch all the stuff he does without the puck. And he had an amazing tournament to me.
Oh, that 2011 team, by the way, Hobie Baker winner, Jack
Conley.
It really is something. And again, I think that speaks towards what you said about Scott Sandlin. I think he's hands down Coach of the Year.
He has to be. You know what's so funny? St. Cloud State got upset. The number 1 team in the country, St. Cloud State, gets upset by Air Force.
Yes.
Coached by an Iron Ranger, Frank Serratori. And his press conferences are great. He's better than Bruce Plant. That's how entertaining they are. But
Now, did I say Air Force beat Denver? It was Ohio
No.
State.
Air Force beat St. Cloud State.
They beat St. Cloud State.
Yes.
Ohio State beat Denver.
Yes.
5-1.
Right.
I think I said Air Force. But
Right.
what do you take from that? Denver,
They were playing so good, too, going into that game.
Denver.
Yes.
Yeah.
They looked like unbeatable. I thought they were going to repeat as national champs the way they were playing.
Is Ohio State maybe the sleeper here?
Yeah, I think so because he's had a solid team all year. Last year too, UMD had to go in overtime in the regions out in Fargo to beat Ohio State in the first game in the regions, and that was a tough game for them. And Ohio State gave them everything, and they lost a lot of good players last year too. So Steve Rollick, Twin Cities boy,
Yeah.
coached at Hill Murray,
Yeah.
before he came up to UMD.
Played for the Badgers?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he did a heck of a game. And 3 Big Ten teams are in this Final Four. And one of the other teams, Michigan, is coached by the Edina boy, Mel Pearson.
Okay, so he took over for Red Berenson.
Yeah.
2011, the Bulldogs beat Michigan. Could it be a repeat here in 2018? In Michigan.
Isn't that funny that 3 of the 4 teams that were in that 2011 are in this one at St. Paul?
Notre Dame, Michigan, and UMD.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
weird.
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
But does this say something about the Big Ten? We've talked so much critically about
Right.
the Big Ten, and here 3 teams are in the Final
This
Four.
is the first year that they're finally showing up without the Gophers.
Yeah, yeah.
But just think about the Gophers now. They're looking for a new coach. And 2 of the top candidates were the coaches from St. Cloud State and Minnesota State, Mankato. Mm-hmm. Mike Hastings and Bob Motzko.
I don't like these lateral moves. Bob Motzko to leave an organization and
But I'm saying they lost these big games. So, and wait a minute, maybe this guy can't win the big game.
who was a former player that some former players that I've heard names have surfaced.
Todd Richards.
Yeah, I saw his name in the list.
The coach out at Northern Michigan that was an assistant coach.
Grant Patolny.
Yeah. Boy.
Does Richards have a legitimate shot at this?
What I hear is that he doesn't have a degree, and they want a degree. Someone told me, I don't understand that, but they want someone that has a college degree.
Because they're at a university within the system.
I don't know what
Might
the reasoning
speak.
is.
There might be some details there regarding if the players, have to maintain academics.
Maybe.
And,
I really don't know.
should the coach be at a level? Okay,
A lot of
interesting.
here's another name that's coming up that played down there and at the U is Rob Stauber,
Really?
USA women's gold medal coach.
Huh.
Yeah, he put his name in the hat too. He put it out there that he wouldn't mind that job.
Well, let's segue to some NHL talk here. Rob Stauber and the gold medal winning Olympic women's team were at the NHL Boston Wild game to drop the first puck.
They had 5 of the girls from the Twin Cities area.
You were there?
Yep.
Okay, I was watching on NBC Sports Network,
Okay.
and the announcer erroneously said from U of M Duluth, Rob Stauber, and I thought, no, he was a Gopher.
Yeah.
From Duluth, but he was a Gopher.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
but Rob actually dropped the puck, and I thought that was kind of neat.
Right.
And then you have the ceremonial let's play hockey.
Oh, that
and
was funny.
They had the team from
Parkland.
Parkland, Florida.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Yes.
Where the shootings were, how many got killed? 17
I think
or something like that?
17.
Yeah.
And so they had. I was stunned to hear that school won the Florida State Championship.
Right.
And my first question was, who do they play? What is the high school league like in Florida?
Not very good.
How many teams are there?
Not very good. Because I'll
Okay.
tell you what.
Why are they here?
This high school tournament, Minnesota's team is no one from the high schools. They're from the junior gold teams and stuff like that. They make up these teams. And the
Now-
Edina junior gold
Now,
team.
what is this? What are we talking about now?
This is high school tournament they had
Okay.
here at up in Blaine.
What do they call it?
It was a national high school tournament.
And
But-
Parkland out of Florida was one of those teams that
Yeah,
came up. Okay.
and they lost 17-3 to Edina. And this is not one player from the high school.
Yeah. Well, but
that's what most of the teams are like. I mean,
you know, I was watching it on TV, and the kid that had the microphone, you saw the team up in one of the suites. He just totally botched the intro.
Yeah, he was nervous.
And he actually let out an expletive. And I thought, well, that's not too good, but yeah.
But they were having fun too with it.
All right.
He was, the kids were having fun, patting on the back, and laughing and that. Hey, they were having a good time up here. And
so something from a terrible tragedy gave these kids, a little time to maybe forget about all that stuff and and have some positive things happen. And it was good to see.
Yeah. Well, this week with the Wild, they had a good game with Nashville on Friday night. And then Saturday night.
Well, that game,
Saturday night.
That game, Coach Boudreau got his 500th win, second fastest to reach the mark in his 837th game. Just 12 more games than Scotty Bowman, who reached 500 in 825 games. Only 26 coaches have reached 500 wins, and Boudreau's done it with just 3 teams.
And the third one took 895, so he's about 60 games.
The one thing that's eluding Boudreau,
the big one,
is of course a Stanley Cup, but he's never even appeared in a Stanley Cup game as a coach. Has he?
Yeah, he's been in the Stanley Cup with Washington. Wasn't he over in Washington?
No, he was there, but
he lost the first round. You're talking about the championship?
I'm talking about the finals.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't think he's been in a Stanley Cup final.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, boy, that'd be great if this team could advance and get that Stanley Cup. It'd be great for Boudreau. It'd be great for the state. It would be something. Wild team leaders, goals, Eric Stahl, 39. Assists, Ryan Suter, 43. Points, Stahl, 72. Wins, Devin Dubnyk, 32 wins. The Wild, 75 games into an 82-game season, 42, 24-9, 93 points. They are in 5th in the Western Conference, 3rd in the Central Division. But my goodness, Nashville, 107 points. Winnipeg, 102 points. Vegas, 101. San Jose, 95 points. Minnesota in that 5th playoff spot with 93. Anaheim, 76 games, so they played one more game than the Wild. 91 points. And then Colorado, 90 points. And St. Louis, 89 points. They've squeaked in. LA is out right now. Also with 89 points, and then Dallas 84.
I can see Colorado going ahead. They've been playing pretty good, but I think.
The thing I like about Colorado,
I think Minnesota is going to make the playoffs.
I hope so. The thing about Colorado, they're young, and they're well coached. They got a good coaching staff. But right now, Nashville and Winnipeg and Vegas, they're the class of the Western Conference. San Jose, they've had like 10 wins in a row or some crazy thing. They've been playing real well. But Minnesota hanging on by really a thread because they've got to play at Nashville. They'll host Dallas, and they play at Nashville Tuesday night. We're taping Monday, the 26th. They host Dallas on the 29th. They'll go to Dallas on the 31st, and then they come home for their final home game against Edmonton on April 2nd. And then they have 3 road games, Jared.
On the West Coast.
Anaheim, at Los Angeles, and at San Jose.
That's a good chance they might be playing one of those teams in the playoffs.
Wow. What a finish. But you know what? They've got to win those 2 home games. And they've got to beat Edmonton at home.
There you go. Oh, yeah. That's a team. But they've been pretty good with Edmonton over the years. But they gotta be hot going into the playoffs. So they got to keep this winning. They're getting points almost every game at home.
In the East, Tampa Bay leads the class, 106 points. Tampa Bay, Boston, Toronto, Washington, Pittsburgh. I've got Philly and New Jersey. Does that sound right?
Okay. Yeah, we can see right there. Let's see. This is from last night because it can be one more game on there, but before last night's games. Yeah, you got Pittsburgh. Second, Columbus.
Columbus. That's who is, Columbus is in there.
And then the other division, Atlantic Division, Tampa Bay, Boston, and Toronto. So, hey, Minnesota is playing real good. We got the number 2 team in the Atlantic, Boston, and We got the number 1 team in Nashville. We're getting points off them, so that's a good sign. But I still don't like the way they play in overtime.
They suck in overtime. I'm sorry, but they do.
That 3-on-3, it's terrible.
I guarantee you that teams that come to Minnesota or play Minnesota in general, I guarantee you the coaching staff says, listen, if we get to overtime, attack them. Because they lay back. They play horrible.
The whole team should come up to Duluth and rink rat for a winner to learn how to do this.
God, it's not that difficult. You know?
These other teams, I mean, just crazy. Game's over in a minute.
Yeah, that was terrible against Boston. You know, they eked a point out, but hey, Jordan Greenway signed.
Just signed.
A 3-year entry-level contract starting with the remainder of the season. He's a 21-year-old, a junior at Boston College, 6'6" forward.
Yep. 226 pounds. Yep. I think he's going to be a good pickup for the Wild, where someone can go in the corner and get physical. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be the big scorer, but he's going to cause a lot of havoc.
Another Charlie Coyle, perhaps?
I think he's going to even be better than that because he's bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, this deal with the Wild in overtime is just, they got to do something about that.
Oh, good noise. Wing, wing, wing. Good news.
Oh.
Local boy, Neil Pionk, got his first goal
I
for
saw
the
that.
New York Rangers.
I saw that. Neil, quick advice, get rid of the hat.
Oh, you had a hat on?
In the locker room.
Oh, jeez. Tell Dad.
Trash the hat.
Tell Scotty.
You didn't see it?
No.
The locker room
no, I didn't see it.
piece?
No, I'm busy with college. I'm busy. I'm at the rink.
But congratulations, Neil Pionk. The Rangers, my goodness, a team that's out of the playoffs.
Boy, they're going to start over and rebuild, too. That's a team that's going to have a lot of youth in it.
What are some other surprises over there? Another team that is out of the playoffs there that you thought might do well? Maybe even the Islanders.
Yeah.
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal.
They're out.
I mean, they started, where did we have them? Montreal. Don't even have them on the list, do we? They're off the list to make the playoffs.
But, so anyways, back to the Bulldogs real quick. Again, semifinals, Thursday, April 5th. Ohio State and UMD, 5 o'clock drop of the puck. ESPN2 and KDAL local radio. The Bulldogs' record stands at 23-16-3. Can they do it, Jer?
Yeah. They, keep the goaltending, if Shepard can play the way he's been, he's not going to allow more than 2 goals. So I think UMD can score 3 goals. But it's going to be tough. They got some good Big Ten teams coming in here.
This Michigan Notre Dame game, that will follow the Bulldog game at 8:30, also on ESPN2. What do you see in that game, Notre Dame or Michigan?
Well, that's going to be a tough one. Notre Dame was number 1 a lot during the season.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the last third of the season, they started losing some games. They play basically a kind of a trap. No one's scoring much, and it's kind of boring way of hockey. Mm-hmm. It's like old Jack, when he coached the Wild. And
Jacques Lemaire.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Well, that was his style. It was successful
and
for
they
him.
play a little bit like that. And Michigan, Pearson, he's doing a great job. He doesn't even have his players because this is his first year. So by the time he gets his players, Michigan's going to be on the map year in and year out for hockey, college hockey.
Let's talk about these final 4 teams that are left. UMD, Minnesota Duluth,
right?
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, all Midwestern teams.
Right.
Is this good or bad for hockey? And let me say what I've got to say here real quick is that you've got 3 Big Ten teams. This is great for the Big Ten.
Right. And
then the lone NCHC team with UMD. But I think that this is going to help hockey in some sense that you've got Notre Dame in there. Notre Dame is synonymous with championships, of course, football.
Right.
But it's a school that, have they ever been in, when was Notre Dame ever in a national hockey championship Final Four?
A lot of times.
but not recently. Well, I take that back, but
They were in last year. They were in 2011. They were in the
Right.
championship game against
have
Boston College.
have they ever
and-
won the national
No,
championship?
they have
Okay.
never won.
Now, wasn't there a local guy? Was it Kevin Haney? One of the Haneys went
Haney,
to,
right
to
out
Notre
of
Dame.
my classmate.
No.
1968 was captain of the Notre Dame hockey
Captain.
team.
And they were a member of the WCHA at the time, I believe.
I can't remember that.
I thought they were.
Because
Okay.
they just started their program, and Lefty Smith from South St. Paul was the coach down there in Notre Dame. And I saw a lot of them guys when they were up here in 2011 at a Notre Dame party. And
I
so-
think Notre Dame being in this Frozen Four, and if they can make it to the championship, I think that's going to draw a lot of attention from even non-hockey fans that Notre Dame is in the national championship game.
they'll get a lot of comments from their helmets. That gold paint, that just
Yeah.
bright gold. Holy
Yeah.
cow. It's crazy.
Not a big fan of that.
No, all the.
I don't
other
know. What
teams-
do you think about these Final Four teams? Is this good for college hockey, for
Well,
hockey in general?
College hockey didn't think so in 2005 when there was 4 WCHA teams down in Columbus. And so they tried to change everything in these regions where it can never happen again. So I don't know.
Well, you've got 3 Big Ten teams in there.
Now you got Ohio State's never been there, so that's good, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And the interest in being in St. Paul, you got 2 coaches from these 2 Big Ten teams, Michigan and Ohio State, are Twin City locals, grew up and everything, played their hockey locally. So that's good for the game, for this St. Paul, I mean, having the Frozen Four. But to have 3 Big Ten, probably not. You like to distribute it. 4 different conferences would be the best, probably.
Yeah.
If college hockey had their way, But
Yeah.
hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You got to win the game.
Yeah.
Got to play the game.
I think this is going to bring a lot of viewers to the televisions. You've got Ohio State,
Right.
you've got Michigan, you've got Notre Dame, UMD, a name that might be familiar to some. Outside of hockey, that's kind of where I'm going with this. I don't know. I think it's good in that sense, but my goodness, I don't think anybody dreamed that the Bulldogs would actually be in the Frozen Four.
No,
And it's exciting.
right. Those players were so excited after they won. And so funny how they got to the championship game with Air Force. They scored in overtime, and they celebrated. All of a sudden, the refs go over to the score table, and they wanted to review it then.
Yeah.
They reviewed it and it took about 10 minutes. They disallowed the goal then.
Yeah. They've got to stop this madness.
And then
They've got to stop this.
So they have to regroup. That's
Yeah.
hard for a team.
Yeah.
And know what's so funny? There's a kid from Hermantown on UMD. He's a freshman, true freshman, right out of high school. He didn't even go to juniors. Dylan Sandberg.
Yeah.
His state tournament championship game, same thing happened. Hermantown
Yes.
Hermantown scores.
That's right.
Then all of a sudden they went
were
to the
celebrating.
review. They celebrated already. They got the
Yeah.
trophy, and not really, but
I remember
all of a
that.
sudden
Wow.
they had to regroup and play, keep on playing.
Yes.
And the same thing happened, and within like 30 seconds, UMD scored again.
Yeah. To seal it.
Yeah, that's
For
just
real.
great. I mean, that's
When you
mental toughness.
when
to
you
do
slow down these replays and you're splitting hairs, you take away the element of momentum. You take, inertia. You take away the element of the speed of the game. And I don't think you can count that or discount that when you're looking at the replay in super slow frame by frame mode.
that. Right,
You've got to take into consideration the speed of the game.
right.
And they don't. And to look at something for 10 minutes,
And sometimes a player
Just-
gets pushed in.
This is
This goalie
absurd.
interference has been a big problem in every level this year.
Yeah.
You notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, they stop games all over from every level. High school, college. I mean, it's just crazy. And I don't think they get it right half the time still.
that's what I hate about it, is they still get it wrong.
So they got to make the call. I think keep the call would happen.
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy
knows?
if they eliminated instant replay. I really would.
It slowed down the game a lot,
I don't like it.
right? And
I don't like it.
especially when you get all these TV timeouts too. So, but on the Air Force game, the championship game, that first period, UMD, I don't know if you watched the game, but UMD came out that first period like they wanted to win.
Air Force?
No, UMD.
No, I know. What
They outshot them 14-0. They could have scored 5 goals.
UMD Air Force.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that goalie, how do you pronounce his name? Christopoulos.
Yeah.
He was hot both games. He was the real deal.
Yeah, Air Force didn't have a shot on goal until the second period.
I know. But then they started playing their game.
Yeah.
See, Air Force, if they would have got ahead, that's their style, then they could slow everything down.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get through the neutral zone that. But UMD was just flying through the neutral zone that first period, getting to the net. And that goal, they have to make some saves. He was lucky. If the UMD would have got the third goal, it would have been over.
Well, right again, UMD squeaked past Air Force 2-1, and it was reminiscent of last season when we were leading Harvard by 1 goal, and they had a flurry in the UMD's end and missed some gaping open nets. I think Esposito for Harvard missed an open net, and the Bulldogs held on, went to play Denver, and lost. If the Bulldogs get past Ohio State, boy, you got to believe it's their time to do it.
I don't know. It's tough. I'm just shocked that they're there in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great I mean, what this does for recruiting 2 years in a row to the Frozen Four.
Yeah.
I mean, this just opens eyes some of these high school kids.
Well,
hey, Coach Sandlin, there's a kid called Garrett Worth, Duluth East player this year, scored the most goals in Class AA. He scored another 2 goals for the Wilderness on Friday night.
Not committed?
Not committed. If you want a goal scorer, Garrett Worth is your man.
You see, we got a problem here because Scotty Sandlin is busy coaching his team to a national championship. I hope he has somebody telling him that.
Can you get Hoagie then to sign him?
Hoagie. Boy, it's kind of neat to see Hoagie in a billboard on Masada Avenue. There might be some others around town, but congratulations to Hoagie. UMD's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's pretty
great.
neat.
He put his time in, and everyone loves Hoagie.
Who did that before Hoagie? Who was the guy?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Been there forever, it seems like.
Right. And there's a lot of local kids that are playing in juniors right now this spring. From Duluth Marshall, George Granis is up in Bismarck. Willie Stauber's up in Bismarck. Levi Stauber's down in Austin. We got Austin Jopi from Duluth East at Bismarck. Luke Lemaster at Janesville. Ian Meju at Austin. And Garrett Worth at the Wilderness, and Tyler Watkins from Hermantown's at the Wilderness. So a lot of North American hockey teams are picking up these local kids for the rest of the season. So that's great.
We got to go. My goodness, time flew today, but we'll be back here next week. What is it? Monday the 2nd, it looks like. Maybe the 3rd we'll be taping. But go Bulldogs, go Wild. We want to thank the staff at PACT-TV, where this program is produced. Check us out on YouTube. Like us on Facebook and MinnesotaHockeyConnection.com. And Jerry, we'll be back here next week to drop the puck.
Yeah, and I hope Scott Perinovich, he went down with about 2.5 minutes left in that game with Air Force, and he didn't come back out on the ice. And I hope he's okay, because they're going to need him if they want to get anywhere in this Frozen Four, if they want a championship.
No doubt about it.
So go Bulldogs.
We'll see you next week.